Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 8th. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have this card that says a time to give rather than take. You also have this card that says a new romantic cycle begins. So, yeah, a lot of you could be attracting love. A lot of people have had love at this time, so, whatever. And you have the Emperor, so definitely could be attracting like an Emperor and Empress. Take how it resonates. But if you want love, like I said, it looks good. And I actually do think it is a good time for you to take, specifically you, Taurus. I think that there's a lot going on that would suggest that it would be a good time for Taurus to like put themselves first and things like that. So I don't necessarily agree with that card that says a time to give rather than take for you, Taurus. And I would just make sure that you're like nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, because again, that's the best thing you can do right now. It's, literally the astrology and everything else going on. It's like, I see this for you, Taurus, that, the better you take care of yourself, the more you put yourself first, the more better things are going to, kind of like come in for you. So, that's what I would be doing if I were you, plain and simple. You start here in your current general energies with the Emperor, the Two of Wands, and the Six of Pentacles. The Emperor is about taking control, taking the lead, really making things happen. So I do think it's a great time for you to really make things happen, right? And really kind of like get going here on the things that you want in your life. You have the World and the Ace of Swords, really good cards here, going from the World to the Ace of Swords. This could be you like feeling like you're on top of the world. I kind of feel it's more you taking your place in the world and claiming a space as well. Those are two different things right there, Taurus. So you have to take up more space. You have to be bold, assertive, which we talk about a lot with you. You have to be, kind of claim your space and take up the space as well. You have to be bigger, in some way. I feel that would be really good for you with this World card. The Ace of Swords would say that this will lead to a victory. That's definitely something I would work on just in general, but I like it. I also feel that the Emperor could be a person. I almost feel that you could be attracting someone who's going through rebirth. I don't know why that's popping into my head, but it is. That very specifically, you are attracting a person who's going through a rebirth. I feel you will, if you're looking for love, you will see that, they are going through a change. They are, maybe they're in a job transition, something like that. Maybe they are moving, any type of change that you could possibly think of. That is what's going on here with this person. You have the Two of Wands. You have the whole world in your hands, but I almost feel you need to step out into the world. That's the whole point of the Two of Wands, is that something behind him is complete, this wand here, and he's reaching forward and grabbing this wand here, and he has a whole world in his hands. So I feel, and you have the world right next to it. Whenever I have the Two of Wands to the world like this, it pretty much says that you have the whole world in your hands, and now you have to take space in the world. The Two of Wands is about thinking, he thinks he knows everything, but he really doesn't. He is only looking at things from a limited perspective. So the Two of Wands is kind of a card of broadening your horizons, which I definitely feel with the World and the Ace of Swords. And you also have the Eight of Wands here. All three of those cards are great cards for broadening your horizons. Basically just finding other ways of doing things, looking at how people in the world do other things in their life, all that stuff, right, would be really good with the Two of Wands. You have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is equal give and take, of course. I feel that this is also an amazing card for you to plant seeds at this time. Six of Pentacles, he's planting seeds in a direction. He is, taking those pentacles and he's giving them to this person, not this person. A lot of people read this as a card of equal give and take, which, it is, but it's more like he is giving to what grows. And I feel that's what you should pay the most attention to, Taurus, is that you need to make sure you are giving to things that grow in your life and not the things that don't grow in your life, right? But let's see what is going on for you here, Taurus. And that didn't work at all. Let's see. We're gonna stick with this deck for now. With the Emperor, you have the Two of Swords. Yes, I'm telling you right now, if you are attracting a person, you are definitely attracting a person who is changing something. I don't know why this is important. Probably, it's probably a clue as to who this person could be. If you do know this person, for a small percentage of you, I feel you definitely know who this person is. For others, you have no clue. But you are attracting a person who's going through a major change if you want love. For all of you, you are taking the lead on something you've never done before. The whole entire reading wants you to do this. It wants you to branch out, wants you to level up, go places you've never been before. It's trying to get you to break free from comfort zones or whatever, right? And I definitely feel that'll be good for you. This energy is going to intensify between now and November because Uranus is going to be retrograding back into your sign on the 7th of November. And so between now and then, this type of vibe is definitely going to get more intense. But this is a good thing because it's going to set you free. This is like Uranus's final hug and a kiss to you here, Taurus, that's saying, now you can be free. With the Two of Wands, you have the Ace of Pentacles, right? Big opportunities. The other thing with the Emperor here is that the Emperor has his armor on underneath his cloak. I always say the Emperor, he is a sit-and-wait predator, kind of like a crocodile. He just waits under the water, and when an opportunity presents itself, he snatches it, right? And that is this right here with the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles can just be an opportunity, but we have a choice with the Ace of Pentacles. We can nurture it into existence, we can make it happen, or we can just stare at it and do nothing. So the Ace of Pentacles is usually an opportunity that has potential. Potential means nothing. Potential basically means what we put into something is what we get out of it. So you are nurturing something into existence. You also have two aces, a lot of aces in these readings in September, which is kind of also interesting. I'm wondering, what I've said to other people is maybe the eclipses. I think sometimes eclipses can bring in opportunities but usually this type of opportunity, Two of Wands, right? Where we let something go and start something new. So, don't be surprised. Yes, are you kidding me? Look at this. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Death card. You are definitely attracting a person who's going through a change. I feel you are also going through a change, but you are, the type of change Taurus should be going through is taking up more space, being bolder, being louder, doing those things you're a little bit nervous to do, right? Like speaking up, speaking your mind, sharing your thoughts, all that, Taurus, is what I would be doing with this energy. You could be attracting a Scorpio. You could also be attracting another Earth sign. Earth definitely stands out to me in this reading for those of you that are looking for a connection. It also wouldn't surprise me if you're attracting someone from a distance. Again, if you are looking for love, you have the World, you have the Ace of Swords, Eight of Wands. Like I said, this is someone who's going through a change, and I feel that the change could be a move. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Divine Intelligence card. It says, to connect with your higher self, you must first create space to listen. The whole entire reading is talking about space. You have this Delicate Rose. It says, be willing to honestly say what you feel, no matter how terrifying it may seem. I literally just said that you have to speak up, right? And that is probably one of the things that will make you the most successful over the next 20 years with Pluto and Aquarius, is speaking up, speaking your mind, not being afraid to share. Speaking up at work, sharing your thoughts at work, all that stuff is going to make you more successful. And that's exactly what I would do. I do feel it is a spiritual month. The first eclipse we have on the 7th is in Pisces, of course, and I definitely feel a lot of people could be, just kind of tapping in spiritually or creating space to listen on that day, literally the 7th. Even though this is for the week of the 8th, eclipse energy can last for a while. And so I would say, even if you're watching this after the 7th, I would still make sure that you're taking time to listen to yourself spiritually. You have the Magician, the World, and the Seven of Swords. The Magician says you can have whatever you want, but the Magician is pointing down to the Ten of Wands and the Nine of Wands here, which is interesting. This could say that there are things that definitely need to be cut out, eliminated. Personally, I like the Ten of Wands because he's very close to achieving his goal. That's the whole point of the Ten of Wands. But, some of those wands might not be his, right? So it's kind of like a good, bad card in general, where it's good. He's carrying his harvest. He's about to reach his home, so he's about to have a harvest. But at the same time, there might be some burdens or challenges that he's carrying that don't belong to him. And those are the things that he needs to cut out. And the Magician is, of course, about manifestation. I feel, for whatever reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've said this to you before. I feel that most of you Tauruses are at about 60% success. There's maybe even not, maybe 40%. And this is not a criticism. I feel some of you could be very successful, and there's like 60% more that you could be getting. The Magician is about the tools that you use, right? So I feel the Magician is encouraging you to look for other ways to increase your success in life, whether this is financial or in other areas of your life. I feel I feel it is like 40%, and there's 60% more that you could get out of it. But this is going to come through doing things such as simplification with the Ten of Wands. He needs to simplify his situation, not make it more complex. I've been saying this all year since the 2025 reading set. 2025, I also believe that most of 2026 will also be a year of simplification, where instead of thinking, how can I make this more complex, you should be thinking, how can I make this smoother, faster, easier, more efficient, build more momentum, Eight of Wands, stuff like that. That's what I'd be focusing on here. You have the World. The World can represent an accomplishment or achievement. I do feel the World is encouraging you to take up more space in the world. This is you right here. You show up on the World card. So whenever you show up as yourself, kind of puts you in a position of power and strength. But I feel it's asking you to do things that put you out there in a bigger way. I feel this is about you kind of making your mark on the world as well. So I would take advantage of this the next few months, even longer. I would take advantage of this energy till, like March of next year, especially with Uranus going back into your sign. You're getting this chance to really create the freedom that you desire. And so I would go big here, Taurus. I wouldn't think very small. I would think bigger. Maybe you want to create a business where you only have to work an hour a day, and you can do that on the beach, right? And still make, $50,000 a month or whatever it is, right? I would come up with some goal like that, something, and make it simple, not complicated. Now, again, sometimes to build something like that, there is going to be some initial hard work. So don't be afraid. Maybe for the first year or something, you have to work 80-hour weeks. But it's like I would gladly trade 1 year of my life, 80-hour weeks, to be able to live on the beach, work 1 hour a day, and be able to relax and have a life, right? So it's kind of like a good trade-off. Now, it's a bad trade-off if you have to do that for maybe 10 years, right? So it's kind of like a balancing going on here. And you have the Ace of Swords, which is balance. So it says you have to understand the ins and outs of your goal. Like, you have to spell it out on a piece of paper. And maybe I would do that if I were you, Taurus. You have the Seven of Swords. I really feel this is just saying there are other ways of doing things, as boring as that is, Taurus, right? The Seven of Swords, he is stealing those swords from that army in the background. And instead of going to war, he is stealing the swords from the army in the background so that they can't go to war with him. And that's what I would be doing with the Seven of Swords, is making sure that you are discovering the best way to do things in your life, whatever those things are in work and business and career. And I would just pay attention with that Seven of Swords, basically. Let's see. With the Magician, you have the Five of Cups. You have more tools than you realize. The Five of Cups is about feeling left out in the cold, or, he is kind of regretting something. He's grieving the loss of his taste for wine, but there's something much better behind him here. So I do feel like the reading is saying, don't be afraid of releasing things that no longer serve you, just in general. There might be some old ways of doing things as well that you're holding on to. I think this is true for all fixed signs. I feel the fixed sign challenge is to let go of the way you used to do things. I mean, that is it. So that's what I would do. With the World, you have the Page of Wands. Yeah, you might have to explore to figure out where you belong in the world, but it is a great time of exploration. The next several years, I think, are going to be great for inspiration and exploration and following your inspirations. So don't be afraid to do that. It can be a little scary because it's like your life isn't going to be conventional. But I don't think we are meant to live conventional lives. That's boring, right? That's how you basically get stuck in the matrix, is being, like everybody else, having a career and then retiring at 65 and dropping dead of a heart attack a day later, right? So boring. I think this is more excitement. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Temperance card. Temperance is about changing something. I feel you need to start something because sometimes I feel he is trying to make something perfect. There's this path behind him. This is the path to glory, and there's this glowing crown here. The Temperance card says that you could just get started right now. If there's a goal, wish, or dream, we were talking about this with the world about kind of having a goal. The Temperance card says there's nothing really more that you have to do other than get started, and that's exactly what I would do there. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Enchanted card and this Love card. Definitely could be a very happy little connection coming in for you. It's not really a reading that's like dominated by love, but there are love cards here. So that kind of tells me that you could have it if you want it, but you don't have to, right? But definitely could be something enchanted. I do feel that there is going to be something happening that you will love, but there's one big caveat here, Taurus. I feel you have to take up more space, put yourself out there in a bigger way this week. Do at least one little thing, right? And because I think that will get you started on the right foot, and that's kind of what I would be focusing on here. You have the Ace of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the Two of Swords. Ace of Swords is a victory or a big success coming in for you. So I do feel that there could be a big victory coming in with the Ace of Swords. Also, I feel you could be creating more balance with the Ace of Swords as well. I would really be focusing on balance with the Ace of Swords. And I don't know why that's popping into my head so hard, but it is. Yeah, sure, the Ace of Swords is a card of balance, but that's not something I always really focus on with the card itself, but it is popping into my head as balance. It's also a card of cutting something out. Right here we have this palm frond, which is, the palm frond can represent survivor energy in the tarot, but it can also represent a sacrifice. We have this olive branch, which is like an offer of peace, but can also represent abundance. So the Ace of Swords, sometimes we have to cut something out to have something better, and that's definitely popping into my head. And with these two eclipses, it makes perfect sense. You have the Ten of Wands. I feel you have to simplify something. Eight of Wands is kind of my card of simplification. And yeah, this is the Ten of Wands, but you have the Eight of Wands right next to it and the good stuff. So I feel with the Eight of Wands here, I look at the Eight of Wands as a card of creating a slip and slide in your life. It is my card of creating a slip and slide. It basically says, wherever there is friction in your life, how can you smooth it out? Of course, we all have obligations that we cannot avoid, but the Eight of Wands says, are there any obligations or are there things that you can't avoid? I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question here, Taurus, right? That's something that you have to think about, but I feel that, that's basically what this is saying. It's like saying, are there things that you can remove? Are there things that you can get rid of? Are there things that you can conquer? And are there things that you can smooth out? That's what I would be focusing on. Any heavy burdens, I would be getting rid of those things. I do feel like you're going to have to find, it's kind of funny because I am getting that there are some unusual solutions to things that you're dealing with right now with this Two of Swords. She's only thinking this or that. Like, she thinks that she only has these two options here, but really she has this third place, this third island behind her that she could go to, which represents like third place solutions. And so I feel that you should be looking for, unconventional, unusual ways of doing things, especially if you need a solution to something. And I feel that's where you're going to find the most success with that. With the Ace of Swords, you have a Five of Wands. Five of Wands is conflict and competition. Maybe that's what you need to cut out. If there is a person, place, or a thing that is causing conflict in your life, then I would remove it or do whatever you can to smooth it out. Again, sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes, if you have a job and maybe there's a person that causes conflict, but maybe you can't just up and quit the job, of course. I definitely wouldn't recommend it right now. I think that it would be a bad time to do that. Maybe you need to find a way to avoid conflict or do whatever you can to smooth it out, right? Which is hard. I'm not saying it's necessarily easy, but I do think it would be worth it to work on. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, sometimes we get too used to the burdens, right? The Four of Pentacles can sometimes say that with the Ten of Wands, can say that the burdens become a comfort zone. Sometimes life gets too hard, I think, and maybe this is what you have experienced over the past several years here, Taurus. It's almost like it's like you get comfortable with the pain, or you get comfortable with the burdens in general. You just think things have to be hard. Really, I'm wondering if this reading is saying it's time for that mindset shift. Maybe I've said this to you recently, because as I say that, I feel deja vu type energy, right? So I do feel I said this to you recently, that it is time for a mindset shift. It's like, okay, you experienced these burdens and all this other stuff in the past, but now it's time to let things be easy. With the Two of Swords, you have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, I feel there's a solution change here. Now, one thing I will say is a lot of people have been getting the Nine of Swords. I do feel the Pisces eclipse in particular on the 7th is pointing out to all of us where we are experiencing Groundhog's Day. You know, it's basically doing something that is showing us where either we're wasting our time or we're doing too much, or, you know, we're, maybe we are... I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but, you know, where we're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and we're not being open to other solutions. So, like I said, I think a lot of people are dealing with that. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Fates card and this Treasure Island card. Pretty much everyone has had a card of Fate, but again, eclipses are fate. Eclipses are, bring in destined change, destined situations, all sorts of stuff like that. So I feel a lot of you, there could be some fated changes coming in here. The Treasure Island card is like as above, so below. So a lot of you could be manifesting more abundance with the Treasure Island card, more success. I do like to see that for you. I feel there could be a lot more success coming in with that Treasure Island card. It could be like fated success, or it's almost like success that's owed to you, especially if you've been putting in a lot of work here, Taurus. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. Queen of Pentacles is abundance. Queen of Pentacles is resourcefulness. So a lot of you could be really becoming more resourceful at this time. Just in general, I feel pretty good about her. One thing I will say with the Eight of Wands is that the Queen of Pentacles is also the card of multiplication, and the Eight of Wands loves speed, right? So the whole point of this is that the Queen of Pentacles, she focuses on things that multiply quickly. You might have certain skills. There might be certain activities that you do in work, in business, in health, in all areas of your life that create a multiple of a result. And those are the things that I would be focusing on this week here, Taurus, with the Eight of Wands. Is what are the things that create a multiple of a result? Because those are the things that are going to lead to the most success, right? And especially with this Eight of Wands energy. And again, Eight of Wands is a card of creating a slip and slide. I also feel there could be some important messages coming in for you. So I would pay attention to any insights, any spiritual guidance you're getting in your dreams and your daydreams. Again, it's a very spiritual time. I do think this week, if you're watching this, today is September 2nd. So if you're watching this on the 3rd, when it's published, or the 4th, the 5th, before the week of the 8th, this week of the 1st is a little bit, there's kind of this little bit of a fever dream type of energy going on where I feel like people could just feel like they're in a fever dream. One thing I will say is I do feel if you're watching this early that it would be a good time for you to, any weird ideas, any thoughts you have, write them down. Don't forget them. It is popping into my head. You have this Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is about putting up appropriate boundaries. Again, with the Ten of Wands here, I would say anything that is stealing your energy or slowing you down, that's what you should put boundaries up against, is things that are slowing you down, that are causing problems, that are making things slower. That's what I would work on there. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the World. Again, you have to take up more space here, Taurus, for sure. I feel some of you could be traveling as well. So, there could be travel in your future, and it would probably be good for you. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Three of Swords. I would be careful of X's. These two, I don't know what the deal is with these two eclipses, but eclipses sometimes can be like retrogrades. They are fate. They are karma. And plus we have the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. That's where both eclipses are happening. And North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo can definitely bring back karma from people. I'm not saying bad karma, but there could be people who are feeling their karma right now from your past, and they could be contacting you to apologize, Ace of Swords, things like that. Although you have the Ace of Swords with the Five of Wands, which would be communicating with you to cause conflict, right? So I feel like everybody should be just heal from the past and let it go, right? And don't talk to exes. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Ace of Cups. So all these aces, which is amazing, 3 aces is definitely a new beginning, or you creating some sort of new beginning in your life. Ace of Cups could be your emotions overflowing, being very happy. The other thing is if you are meeting or getting together with a new person, you cannot make this up. I was literally going to say that if someone from your past could see you with a new person, and I'm going to skip forward to this card because it says someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. So I would definitely, if you are meeting a new person, there is no doubt about it, I would definitely protect that new connection from anything from the past. You have this casket. It says someone going out of your life or the end of a situation, obviously. There's a bunch of stuff here about cutting something out or making changes, but I would say these are, positive changes with the Magician. You are using your skills in a better way. I think there are two simple things that you could do. Cut things out that are slowing you down and focus on multiplication with the Queen of Pentacles. Again, multiplicate. We all have things in life that we do that produce a better result, and that's what I would be focusing on, is what are the things that you do well, where you get more of a result than the amount of energy you put in. And yeah, it's going to take some time for you to figure that out maybe, but if you do that, your life will definitely get better. You have this broken wishbone. It says, wish will not be granted. I don't know. I don't think this looks very bad for wishes or anything like that. I will say that Uranus and Taurus is not lucky, right? It's kind of funny that a lot of people have been getting these things about luck, right? But Uranus and Taurus, it's not that it's not lucky. It wants us to create our own luck. And so, I said at the beginning of Uranus and Taurus, I remember saying this all the time, that we would see record high lottery numbers. Right now, like one of them, the Powerball or whatever, is that get over $1 billion or something like that. And even though Uranus is in Gemini, it hasn't even retrograded back into Taurus yet. Why? And I was 100% right when I said that, because Uranus and Taurus hates get rich quick, right? It's not like luck. We have to create our own luck, and that's what I would do here. You have as well, it says family wishes come true. A lot of good stuff about family, so love it. You also have this tankard. It says celebration, fun, and enjoyment. I would be doing more of this, doing more things that you enjoy. But this looks pretty good here, Taurus. I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.